This is Universal Heritage Television Nigeria. My name is Afam Echi. It is yet another interesting edition of our breakfast show, Daybreak Nigeria. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube platform and give us thumbs up for our program. I have a gentleman and a lady to talk about female genital mutilation in this particular edition. The UNO specifically has designated or dedicated 6th February 2024 as the International Day of Zero Tolerance to FGM, that's female genital mutilation. The group, the gentleman and the lady, came from a group called Coalition of Imo State NGOs Partnering with Education. This is a group of different NGOs in the state coalescing or coming together to pull their resources together to firm up their advocacy. They discovered that there is strength in unity, and that is why they have come here today to talk about female genital mutilation. They are Liberator Ann Nwoke. Liberator Ann Nwoke is Secretary, Stand Up for Women's Society. Madam, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Close to her is First Fem Enisire, Executive Director, Community Youth Development Initiative. Sorry if I didn't get the name. You can help me. You are welcome to our program.
Thank you so much, sir.
Like I said, they are going to throw more light on their program coming up on the 6th of February. Now, let me start with you, madam. Female genital mutilation, we all know, is a cultural practice. And I remember in our local parlance, they call it Ibiwa Iwubu, right?
Yes.
And it happens in Igbo land and some other ethnic groups around us. What is it all about, and why do we practice it? You are a woman.
Yes. Female genital mutilation is a harmful this in our society. The female genital mutilation is traditional practices of removing a female organ. Immediately the child is born, maybe after 8 days, circumcision will take place in the olden days. But now it's minimal because of some certain pressures from the society.
Okay.
Yes.
First Fem, I guess.
Yes, you got it very well.
First Fem, okay. Now, I want to find out from you, what are the issues against female genital mutilation? Madam said it is a harmful practice. What is harmful about it? And why is the world so focused on female genital mutilation? To the extent they have allocated a day to talk about it.
Thank you, sir. So, female genital mutilation, as my colleagues rightfully pointed out, is a harmful traditional practice, and it comes with a lot of consequences, both health consequences, psychosocial consequences, and mental health consequences. Now, one of the immediate consequences of female genital mutilation is death. Sometimes when a child is subjected to female genital mutilation, bleeding occurs, and if the bleeding is unable to be controlled by whoever is there, the child might bleed to death. We have like 2 cases that we've recorded here in Imo State where a child was subjected to female genital mutilation and the child bled to death. Before they could have rushed the child to the tertiary health facility, which is the Federal Medical Center here in Imo State, the child bled to death and died. Another consequences from female genital mutilation is trauma. At times, especially when it happens to adolescent girls and women, they pass through a lot of shock and trauma. This affects them psychologically, mentally, and otherwise. Now, there is something we call the clitoral cyst or keloids. At times, when a woman is subjected to female genital mutilation, they start developing it. I was with someone yesterday, we are discussing about this issue. She told me a girl was subjected to female genital mutilation and she had something like clitoral cyst. They had to operate her like 4 times for this cyst to go. Clitoral cyst is like a growing around her genital area that was caused by as a result of female genital mutilation. And now the issue of keloid, you know, a lot of people have different skin types. My skin type might not be the same with yours. Now, when this thing is done on them, it forms scar tissue, it forms keloid, and those keloids at times blocks her genital area, and menstruation becomes very difficult for her. Now, at times, if she's menstruating, some are retained in her intestine. We've had a case in Imo State where an adolescent girl was mutilated and she developed keloid. It blocked her menstrual flow and she died at the end of the day. One of the most prominent one is a difficulty during delivery. That's very common with type 2 female genital mutilation. If you can interview all the healthcare facilities, the midwives there, they will tell you that majority of the women that come to deliver in their facilities, those that are mutilated, find it very difficult to deliver. While those are not mutilated, it's very easy for them to push and deliver their babies. So there are a lot of consequences from female genital mutilation that if I start talking about here, if we start discussing it, we might not leave this place. Thank you.
Okay. Now while you made your point, you mentioned, you sounded like there are types of variations, variants of this LGA.
Yeah.
Can you help us?
Okay, according to the World Health Organization, they classified female genital mutilation in 4 types. We have the type 1 called clitoridectomy. Clitoridectomy is where the clitoris is partially or totally removed. Then we have another type that is called the excision. Excision is when both the clitoris, the labia minora, and the labia majora is being removed. Then we have another one called infibulation. Infibulation is when the external genitalia of the lady is sutured, that's sewn close, leaving little opening for her to pass her urine and menstrual flow. Then this one called type 4, unclassified, is very common here in Imo State, and it's moving into some areas, some states that are nearby to Imo State as well. It's the one we call unclassified, that they use hot water, Vaseline, different kinds of harmful substances to massage and press down the clitoris of the baby. That one is called unclassified, just to desensitize it, to deaden it, to kill it, to take it inside. So these are the 4 types of female genital mutilation that's WHO classified. Thank you.
Okay, Madam, you see, this is a cultural practice, like I mentioned earlier on, and there must be a reason why our people, got into the practice. And what benefits accrue from it, or is there no benefit why people were doing it?
Actually, in those days, if you give birth to a male child, they want to cut off the clitoris so that by the time the child grows up, you will not be having urge of having sexual intercourse at random. So they believe that if they cut off the clitoris, it makes a woman, to be so matured and be herself until the time he grows up and got married to the husband.
Okay, you're saying it reduces the urge? It
reduces the urge, yes, of sexual intercourse. And medically, it is not good because most women, they don't know what is orgasm because of that thing. And they don't enjoy sexual relationship with their husband. And it causes so many families, most men and their wife fight because of it. Because if the clitoris is not there, they find it difficult to reach their orgasm and to enjoy sexual relationship. And their spouses always have problems with them. When you touch a woman and say, please leave me because it's not feeling the urge, it's not having the urge. Why the husband has the urge? That is one of the harmful practices it causes in women. Husband and wife fight over sexual intercourse. Women not enjoying it. There are so many women, they don't know what is orgasm. Yeah. And there are some men, it's not all men that knows how to treat a woman before you be able to accomplish that. You understand? So our people in those days, they did it in order to help us and help the family. But in other words, it's very harmful to the woman, because when you go to the hospital to give birth, they will ask you whether they cut off your clitoris. Elongated the labor of a woman when the woman is in labor. Okay. Yes, elongates labor. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm still with you, madam. So this particular day, February 6th, what actually do we expect from you? What is the program? What are you going to have that day?
We are going to tell the whole world that this practice is so harmful to our girl children. They should stop it by doing this advocacy in the marketplace, in the radio place, wherever, in schools. We need to tell them to stop these practices. Like my colleague has rightly said, all those keloid, you know, operating on a small girl, and before you know it, the life is at stake. It causes cancer too, hemorrhage. A lot of people have had cancer, cervical cancer, because of this cutting of clitoris and all the rest of them. So on the 6th of February, we are going to tell the whole world that these practices is harmful. They should stop it. And I believe government is in it too. And they are trying to draw law against it.
We're going to come to government's role. Now, are you having a seminar? Are you having a workshop? Or are you going around the streets to sensitize people? So how are you going to do? What is the program?
Yes, some of us are going to schools to enlighten them on these particular practices, telling them the consequences and why it should be stopped. Some of us will go to the marketplace where the women are, because it's the women that will really take charge of this thing and to stop it. Because, like my colleague said, it's no more a universal something or a community this thing. It's now in household. Communities now frown against it. But now in a family where a girl child is born, maybe the father will come and tell the mother, please make sure you circumcise this. But if the woman is not in support, at least it will be stopped. The woman, the grandmother, the mother of the husband in the house, these two, when they join hands, they can be able to stop these practices.
Okay, first friend. Now, this is not the first time this campaign, came on board. I guess this campaign, has been there over time. Now, can you tell us, has there been any level of progress, achievements recorded in one direction?
Yes, these projects have recorded a lot of progress and achievement, even in impact. We are already seeing those results. Like, let me start with the surveys, like the multiple indicator cluster survey. Nigeria used to be at 25% of girls and women subjected to female genital mutilation. But the 2021 multiple indicators cluster survey is now telling us otherwise, that we now have 20% of girls subjected to female genital mutilation, which means now if we check the mix of 2017 and the mix of 2021, you will see there's a lot of reduction. Even for Imo State specifically, when you check the mix as well, it used to be for women 15 to 49 used to be at 51%, but currently we are seeing a decrease to 38%. That's there for children. We used to see a lot of statistics there, but now we are seeing 9% for children 0 to 14 years subjected to female genital mutilation. National Orientation Agency, civil society organizations, even my own organization as well, with support from United Nations Children's Fund, United Nations Population Fund, and the government as well have done a lot to see that we achieve those results. NOA have gone to a lot of communities to sensitize them. Even communities are even coming out to declare abandonment, that this is no more a cultural practices. And there are setting mechanisms like community-based child protection committees to see that nobody mutilates or subjects her child to female genital mutilation. Specifically in Imo State, the government have a law. First of all, we had the anti-FGN law in Imo State. Now we have another more comprehensive law, that is the VAP, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, that prohibits the practice of FGN.
Let me stop you there, because we are going to come to what government has done so far. The rules. What you are saying is recorded statistics indicate that there is a decline in the practice. Now, which group conduct this survey?
National Bureau of Statistics. Yes, and UNICEF is in charge of the mix. Then we have at the federal level the National Demographic and Health Survey as well. So these are the two surveys that speaks to, that also have a component of female genital mutilation in it, that one can check to see if there is a decline in the practice of female genital mutilation.
Okay, Madam, I would like to know from you, what is the level of government support coming in respect of this program? What you are doing is a profitable activity. It benefits, drawing from the shortcomings of female genital mutilation. It means you are trying to help society. Yeah. Okay. So to what extent have you received your group, or to what extent have government intervened?
Actually, government has not really intervened in our own group or anything.
I mean generally.
Generally.
Yeah, generally. I mean in the campaign against FGM, what is the level of government support?
Government has not really supported us as a government in this campaign. We are doing it because we are into humanities, humanitarian services. So we know that this is not good, and we are drawing this campaign all over the places we know that people will hear us and take note of it. Government has not really come into it, but we are hearing that the government has enacted some law, although it has not really passed the readings of becoming a law. Like my colleague said, violence against persons, this thing. Yes, they are on the this thing of enacting it, so that anybody they catch, trying to do that, we face the law. So we on it. They are on it. They have not really come to conclusion of it to pass it as a law.
Okay. Yeah, and this is, you are trying to say something in that direction. I know that there is the VAP law, which Madam is talking about. I don't know other programs of government, so you may need to tell us more if the extent government has been supportive in this campaign, in this program.
Okay, one way the government have also supported in this program is integrating FGM activities into routine services at the primary healthcare centers, just like antenatal and immunization services. Because when you come to Imo State, FGM is something that is done to children before the 8th day. So where do you start intervening for? You start intervening from when the woman is pregnant, and where can she get this information? At the health facility during antenatal services, and also during immunization when they bring the children back for immunization services. So government have tried to integrate this thing to make sure that there is always health talk for women, and FGM is part of those discussions they have with those pregnant women and nursing mothers in the state. So this is one of the things that the government is doing to make sure that these practices end. Although I think they need to do more, because there's another area that we want the government to also come in and talk about, especially the issue of budgetary allocation, specific budget for female genital mutilation, because we have survivors of female genital mutilation, and that is what this year's team for International Day of Zero Tolerance is talking about. Now those survivors who are going survivors of female genital mutilation.
Okay, those who we are subjected to that
FGM, yes, but they did not die.
They did not
exactly.
But they were harmed.
Yeah, they were harmed.
But they did not die.
Yes, they didn't die.
So what actually do you want from government?
Okay, like for example, some of them have fistula.
Okay.
Yeah, at times when FGM is
fistula. When you use this word, because our audience, some of them may not be grounded to understand the terminology. So when they use the words that's technical and peculiar to you, break it down so that even me.
Fistula is when there's a leakage between the urine and feces. Yes, at times it happens when they tear a lady mistakenly. That happens, and we need the government to also. At times, some of these people don't have the resources, the funding to take care of such persons that has this issue. So we need government to step in. In 2018, one happened. The government empowered them, did something. They took the child to Abake, Ibonyi State, where we have the fistula center for the child to be operated upon, but they said the child had to wait for some time until she grows to a certain age before she can be operated upon. Now those that have clitoral cysts and keloids as well, they need also medical attention. You understand? So these are things that we want government to budget for, so that these people can access these facilities, these services from primary healthcare centers. Exactly, sir.
Yeah, well, madam, you see, actually, we can see it has not been a good practice for us all. Maybe the disadvantages outweigh the benefits.
Exactly.
So what can we do? What do we need to do to end the practice?
What we need to do is what I've said earlier, to carry out advocacy to people and tell them the disadvantages in these things. Because I remember when I was in the university in 1995 at the University of Jos. There's a hospital in Jos. because it happens like what he said concerning fistula. You know, all those teenagers in the north, when they marry them very young, so they normally have this fistula, vaginal fistula, like this opening between the urinary distal and the anus. You know, and their husbands will reject them, their family will reject them. There's a place, there's a hospital where they admit them and they take care of them. I remember a German doctor who came and was operating on them. Some, they were lucky, they operated on them and their case was healed. Some, their case could not be healed and they continue urinating anyhow, wearing pampers. If we can have such a place here, more especially in Imo State, in a clinic, in a hospital like that.
Just what you mean is fistula center.
Fistula center.
Okay.
Where if we have this kind of people, we push them there with a specialist who can be taking care of them, so that their life will be normal again. And this constant advocacy, radio advocacy, is going to schools, going to the marketplaces, enlightening women. Because where I work, I am in Owerri West local government. As a community development officer, we go to rural areas to carry out this this kind of campaign. Because when UNICEF will tell us to go and carry out this kind of advocacy in the community, tell the chieftaincy and the president generals, the women leaders, we should call them, educate them, so that they will go back and educate their people. So with this kind of advocacy, it will be, you know, minimal. People will get enlightened and they know that it's not a good
Let's hear from your experience. When you do the advocacy, to the extent you are enlightened, going to the internet, the rural folks, you know, interacting with the Jews, the community leaders, what is the feedback you get? Or what is
the feedback we normally get there, there's a minimal, reduced. But like what my colleague said earlier, now it's now narrowed down to a household issue. Household issue, because there are some people are beginning to know that this is not a good practices in our society, in the life of our children. But there are people so archaic, they don't want to hear. They will still stick to it. But they are trying to see any family they see, they will have to report to us so that we take it up from them. But from their feedback, the whole thing is minimal from the advocacy we've been carrying out in Owerri West local government.
Yes. Now, you see, every practice benefits some people. There is always one form of monetary gain or economic benefit or something. You know. So, the people that are involved in this practice, you know, just like we have medical doctors who administer, we have teachers who do this, we have people who actually do these things. You know, has there been any efforts to target them, to get them to this, you know, to reorient them? I mean, those who are, because the advocacy, you mean you just talk to people generally, but there are people who are actually involved in executing this practice. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. So, has there been any focus in that direction? And then, what should be the role of women in this? You know, especially targeting this. Because for me, I feel that is where the focus should be. Because if you get somebody to know why you should stop what he's doing, then but if you are not talking generally to every person, some people, you know the way we do our things in this country. You can be doing your talking and doing what I want to do.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Okay, now FGM is all about demand and supply. Now, from the supply section, that's seriously targeting them. People that do FGM in Imo States and Nigeria are basically the traditional birth attendants and healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, and midwives. Now, they do it for economic reasons. The doctors do it because people. If I tell you how much people they charge for FGM, you will not believe. So, collect as much as 20,000 naira. The one that happened 2 years ago in Imo State here, a medical doctor, 20,000 to do FGM on a child, and it's a medical malpractice because we've engaged with their council, the medical and dental council.
Okay. Oh, wait. You are saying that a medical doctor,
yes,
a trained medical professional, got engaged in
female genital mutilation.
Wow. Yes. In his hospital, or
I might not really know where the services was offered. Of course, it might not be in his hospital. It might be in his house or the house of the person that wants the practice to be done.
So they are also at that level. They are also involved.
Yes, they are also involved.
The target is the rural folks who do this crudely.
It's not only the rural.
It's not only them. Everybody who is good with the razor can do FGM, because it's all about FGM is about demand and supply. I come to you and say I want this thing to be done because you are good with the razor. Please do it for me. I'm willing to offer so amount to you. Now, because of economic reasons, the medical help, the health professional accept and do. In Egypt, they've collected license for a lot of medical doctors because of female genital mutilation. In Nigeria, currently, the medical and dental council says if they catch any of their officers involved in female genital mutilation, automatically your license will be collected from you. So now what we are doing basically to address that demand side of the supply side of female genital mutilation is we are looking at empowering those, especially the TBAs, to stop female genital mutilation, engaging with the council of those professional bodies to also warn their members and also enact some laws to restrict their members from doing such. In Ata local government, in an Ata community in Ikedu, I think Ikedu local government, the Youth Anti-FGM Network, they've actually empowered over 30 traditional birth attendants, people who do female genital mutilation with some skills. It talks of how to bake cake, how to do pastries, how to make sleepy soap and all of that, so that they can shift away from that as a business into something else that's more profitable to them. Not only that, we made them advocates to campaign against female genital mutilation. We formed a network, the women there formed a network that what they would do basically is to talk to other women, talk to their fellow TDAs that do female genital mutilation, so that they will desist from the practice of female genital mutilation in their communities. So this is basically what we have been doing and what is going on in the country currently to see that we tackle FGM both from the demand side and from the supply side. Now when you talk about the role of women, what women can do, this year the FGM dynamics is changing because awareness has gone round, you understand? So, but basically what we are trying to do now is the survivors of female genital mutilation that are basically women, we want to empower them to be at the forefront of ending this practice while we take a back seat in terms of ending female genital mutilation. Because when they come out there in their community to campaign against this practice and share their stories that these are the consequences of the female genital mutilation, they will believe them more than they believe you and I talking. Because we are just talking from stories that we heard from other people, but they are coming to share their own stories that this practice, we don't need to do it in this community. It has a lot of consequences. I passed through those consequences and I don't want it to continue in my own community. And it will, you will find out that we will get more progress from what we are seeing currently. Thank you.
And I muted the last question. I want to find out what we need to do better in giving the role of the Nigerian Medical Association, just like they highlighted what they do, that some of them are indulging in practice, the traditional institution, the women group, the church, and the other organizations. So what do we need to do better? How can we get better on this thing? What we are not doing yet?
The thing is that there's a penalty. There's a penalty on the people who still indulge in this FGM after this kind of advocacy. And like the medical association, taking somebody's license is a huge one. After so many years spent in the university and all the rest of them, and you come out to practice something that is against your medical ethics, take away your license, you now become an ordinary person. If you are a judge or a government worker in a high reputable listing and they find out that in your family you agree for something to happen or indulge in something, this kind of practices, you'll be dealt with. Like as we are saying, that the government is on it, because by the time the government finds you, and they have to find you and give you a penalty that will pay you so much so that you know that these practices It's very harmful to
So you are
community.
looking for penalties in form of
Fines, and also, you know, taking away your licenses. Yes.
It's okay. I think this is where we draw the curtain for. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Madam Moto, thank you for being part of the program. Viewers, this is where we round off the program, and we've had the man and the woman talk about the disadvantages of female genital mutilation, which they told us causes bleeding and which can lead to death. And we also learned that it reduces orgasm and creates health complications, as well as elongating delivery. These are the harmful effects that they want eradicated. So on the 6th of February, they'll be going around schools, going around through so many other organizations and communities to drum up the awareness. And on this note, my name again is Afam Eti, and this is where we draw the curtain. Please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. Thank you so much.